Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Whew, just in the nick of time, I had to refresh some of my computer technology stuff. I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting the ketogenic diet. And here's another piece of technology that is failing me. Um, and how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life like I did. I'm sorry, there was something beeping at me and I have to ignore it. Live television. All right, friends. Today's topic is about keto versus hype. And by that, I mean the hype, like keto hype. First of all, I would like to see, because I've had some technology issues, can you guys see and hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Cool. I hope everyone can. Okay. There is Judy Porterfield. Hey, Judy. Thank you. Glad you can. One never knows. First of all, I'm going to describe what the ketogenic protocol is as I learned it and as I have practiced it for now over 8 years. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the topic. Then I'm going to turn attention to the attendees and the questions. And I'm so sorry. I don't want to do this. I apologize, but I will get this straightened out. There we go. And done. Sorry. Attendees, comments, questions, and then I want to spend the last couple of minutes letting you guys share your situation or the situation of your second cousin or your challenges, your victories, whether they are scale related or non-scale related. I started doing that at the beginning of the year, at the end of these live streams, and I find so much inspiration, and I know other people do as well, from hearing success stories. That having been said, let me get this so I can read. The ketogenic protocol, as I learned it and as I have practiced it, is keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams of carbohydrate a day, total grams, not net. If it's not on page 4, link below, don't eat it, but you don't even need a list of food. It's fatty sources of protein, limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables, and limited amounts of full-fat dairy. So that's the food. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop if you're satiated. That's the protocol. Now, this will actually fold nicely into the hype because there's some hype out there about how to do it. There are people pushing that you need to measure grams of protein, grams of fat, ounces of water, time of day eating, restricted, restricted feeding windows, which always makes me think of Mr. Ed, the horse. He's sticking his head through a window to eat. Okay, this is not hashtag Casey's pink drink. Today it's orange. Usually it's a tumbler full of ice, diet tonic water, a splash of diet cranberry, a squeeze of lime. Then I ran out of diet tonic water, didn't feel like getting any more, so it was water. No, diet ginger ale. And a splash of diet cranberry and a squeeze of lime. I'm out of diet ginger ale as well. So this is actually water with some non-sugar water enhancer flavoring. You have to be able to, be flexible. So there are people that will sell you apps to measure things that don't need measuring, kits to address non-existent medical conditions, powders to supplement something that you could just get it as easily by eating a chicken thigh, and fake keto food. Okay, for one thing, my friend Amy Berger has stated, foods are not ketogenic. Our bodies are ketogenic. Food is food. Some foods that we eat, if they're too high in carbs, they trigger a glucose coming out of the liver like a fire hose, which is not helpful. And we are then burning sugar for fuel instead of burning fat for fuel. Once we turn off the tap of the glucose, because we have cut back on carbs, our body happily turns to burning fat for fuel. There is no food product with the word keto on it that will do that. Keto is a non-regulated term. I could package Casey's keto crinkles and make them out of steel-cut oats and raisins and call them keto, and they're not. And no one's going to say boo to me because keto is a non-regulated term. It's not what you do, buy, and eat that matters. It's what you don't eat, which is carbs. And a shelf-stable product, for the most part, is high in carbs. That's what makes it shelf-stable, because the things that are in there to make it shelf-stable are starches and fillers and all kinds of non-beneficial things. That's part of the hype. And in my experience, the word keto on a package means it's not. And the bigger the letters, the more it's not. Like keto ice cream bars, large letters. So the letters for keto are this big, and the ice cream bars words are that big. Not. There's just not. It's not. The people with whom I speak who have been the most, and from whom I hear, who've been the most successful, including myself, just didn't play. Just don't mess around with that stuff. Eat fatty sources of protein. Some non-starchy vegetables if you want. They are not required. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. Another part of the hype, and I will be turning my eye, I can see comments going, and I don't want to miss anyone, so I've got my timer going. Are outrageous success stories. Now, there are some amazing, true success stories. And very often, Little Crafty Nook, thank you so much for my card. If I thought about it, I would have brought it here just for people to see, to hold up the little note card you created and sent to me. I really appreciate it. Custom made. Anywho, what was I saying? Often the people who are here have wonderful true stories, but a lot of the stories are apocryphal. That means they're just made up, or they're exaggerated, or they're, put in a way to entice you to buy a product. Again, in my experience, the people who've had the most success couldn't give a rip about selling you anything. They are just thrilled to be here, not here on my live stream. They're thrilled to be walking the face of the earth, feeling better, off of medications, joint pain resolved, brains returned to where they're supposed to be. Another part of the hype. Burning fat for fuel is great. It can reduce body fat. It gives us energy. There are 9 grams of energy, 9 calories of energy in every gram of fat. 9 calories of energy in every gram of fat, as opposed to 4 calories of energy in every gram of carbohydrate or protein. So fat is full of energy. It's one reason it kind of, satiates us and helps us along. Another part of the hype. This is not a high-fat diet. You don't pound back the fat to burn fat. It's not the presence of the fat that you eat that does the trick. It's the absence of the carbs, not eating carbs. I'm going to repeat the protocol as I learned it and have practiced it. And I have not learned, and I've paid a lot of attention, and I rub elbows with very learned people who are now my friends. And I have not heard or read one thing that gets me off of this protocol the way it is. Limit carbohydrates to 20 grams a day or fewer. Total carbs, not net carbs. If it's not on page 4, but just fatty sources of protein and non-starchy vegetables if you want them, and full-fat dairy, limited. Don't eat if you're not hungry, no matter what time it is. Do eat if you are hungry, no matter what time it is. Stop when you're satiated, not stop when you're about to pop. That's it. So hype beyond that is hype. And in my mind, I have an open mind. I just haven't learned anything in 8 years that changes me from what I've learned. I just haven't. Another bit of the hype is it will not fix everything. It feels good to burn fat for fuel. It's very beneficial to us. Babies are born burning fat for fuel. They are born essentially in a state of ketosis. Babies are. Nature kind of figured it was a very healthy way to be. It's us that comes along and screws it up, with baby formula and then Cheerios. But it won't fix everything. It's not a cure for cancer. There is some evidence. It's not even new. This goes back to the 30s. Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize for discovering that certain cancer cells thrive on glucose. That doesn't mean that cutting carbs will cure cancer. Research is ongoing, but it's not going to hurt. It is not the cure for loneliness. Unless, of course, you're lonely because you don't get out because you don't feel well, or you don't like the way you look in clothes. And if you feel better about yourself and you become more social, that can help with the loneliness. But it doesn't make happiness unless there's a good foundation there. It doesn't resolve all issues. It's not magic. It just feels like it when you've been overweight for decades, trying everything that you were told to do, then throwing in the towel because that didn't work. So you stop at Dunkin' Donuts on the way home. And then you start eating ribeye and bacon and eggs and a little bit of cheese and some ranch dressing and a pork chop, and then you lose weight, just laying off the carbs. You're eating the omelet, but not the hash browns. You're eating the chicken with the skin, but not a biscuit. It feels like magic, but it's not magic. It's physiology. Excuse me, I have to look at something here. Beg your pardon. I know I'm not that distracted, but I am trying to do something for the first time. So let's think about this. There is a part of us that can say, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. But it really is true that if you lay off the carbs and you eat luscious, fatty pork chops and bacon with the fat and sausages and eggs with the yolks and poultry with the skin and limited amounts of full fat cheese and sour cream. Limited amounts now. This just because it's on page 4 or it's allowed does not mean it's unlimited. Limited amounts of you can have your vegetables and put cheese sauce on them. Just watch the amounts. That seems too good to be true, that you feel better, you sleep better, you lose weight, you lose inches, you wear a size. I started out in a size 24W. For those of you who don't know, I usually try to remember to say this. You can go to my blog. Almost everything I reference will be at my blog in one way or another. But you can see photos that were taken of me when I was heavier, not my heaviest. I started at 24W jeans. And I now wear the last pair I bought at Costco, because that's where I started the 24Ws, was a size 6. And they don't sell size 4s at my Costco. But I have size 4 jeans from another source, petite smalls. Oh, and this shirt, I'll talk about it later. This is a lady size small. I never would have talked about my clothing sizes before because they were usually followed by 1 or 2, sometimes 3 X's. You know what I'm talking about. But the rest of it that sounds too good to be true, take this supplement and burn fat overnight. No, it's not the way it works. Eat this keto ice cream and stay on your diet. That is, I'm sorry, but there's a very famous, been around for decades, weight loss company, industry that says, live the life you want and eat the food you want and lose weight. Really? Really? Nobody ever went broke telling people what they want to hear. The truth is you need to lay off the carbs and lay off the excuses. That's not something a lot of people want to hear, but it works. You know what doesn't work? Everything in moderation. Because if you're hearing my voice, moderation is difficult. There's a phrase, I'm an abstainer, not a moderator. I didn't make that up. And somebody else said it to me. I'm an abstainer, not a moderator. I just don't want to fight with my brain anymore about food. So I don't toy around with, oh, I'll just have one, whatever it is. No, I don't want to fight with myself about that. So ignore the hype. It's a very straightforward protocol. Lay off the carbs. It's doable. Every culture is carb-based. My lovely mate is from Colombia, South America. Every meal was a large platter of carbs and some fried flesh of some sort, fried bacon or beef or chicken. But there was, mounds of rice and beans and patacones and or potatoes and yuca. And if he can do it, and he never had a weight problem. He wasn't trying to do this to lose weight. If he can thrive on this and happily give up those foods of his youth and his culture, so can we. Every culture is, it's fine, but I'm Italian. We have, okay, pasta, you don't, fine, but I'm, German and everything's strudel and potatoes. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I'm from the South and everything's breaded and is on a stick and has biscuits. So we can do this. And if I can do this, you can do this. But the hype, tune out the hype. Lay off the carbs. Now, I'm going to give a little shameless commerce division, the nod to the car talk guys, trying to earn my keep. There are just a handful of these 2022 Go Keto with Casey calendars left that I designed, and they have pictures back here of things that from my household anyway, and hopefully inspirational things. Go Keto with Casey 12-month record book, spiral bound. You can get that at my blog. And I want to say hello and thank you to patrons. I have a private Patreon support group where, depending on your pledge level, you get, at the entry level, $5, 20 pre-recorded morning videos from me called snippets, topics based on suggestions from the patrons. Going up from there, handful of patron-only video, patron-only live streams on Crowdcast every month. Up from there, handful of patron-only video group sessions a month on Zoom. Just had one this morning. And up from there, 50-minute one-on-ones with me a month. Commercial over. Thank you. Now, I would like to turn my attention to comments and questions that are here. Of course, I don't have my mouse. That's okay. And I just jump in with the first thing I see. Judy Porterfield, plus had all the cravings with the carbs and sugar. Okay, so there's a conversation going on there. Little Crafty Nook says, jawohl, German, Norwegian here. Every culture other than the Inuit and the Maasai is carb-based. Christy Kali Chica, willpower, you can do it. Mona Yakin, I need to stop keto ice cream, but don't know how. Okay, here you go. You stop eating it, that's how. What do you mean you don't know how? You know how you would stop driving your car off a cliff? You would stop the car. How do you stop holding your hand over an open flame? You stop doing that. How do you stop hitting your head against a brick wall? Stop doing that. That's how you stop. See, we tell ourselves, I don't know how to stop. Or I find it irresistible. It's not irresistible. Now, I could bring in cookies and have them in my house. And I can stop. I don't have to eat them. I'm not powerless against them. My shirt. I'm stronger than a cookie. Go Keto with Casey. You can see that in my Teespring shop. Links below. Because we say, oh, I'm powerless against Chips Ahoy or Oreos or pretzels are my kryptonite or ice cream is, and we have to resist against marketing that is put to us that, yes, indulge yourself. Yes, eat the Haagen-Dazs. Stand in the store and eat the Haagen-Dazs. There's a commercial on right now. A young, thin person standing in the store with an open container of Haagen-Dazs, eating it with like a serving spoon. That's how you stop. Frank A writes, Casey, what do you eat when you want a treat? It depends on what you define as a treat. I don't need treats. I eat food. When I'm hungry, I eat food and it's delicious. But no, I don't. Here's another thing. I would definitely try not to come up with fake versions of the food that got us fat in the first place. So that's part of the hype. Keto desserts, keto baked goods, keto cookies. Again, no such thing. Hold, please. Fitness guru and keto after 50 is not good because you lose muscle and muscle loss equals low metabolism. I want muscle. Okay, thank you very much. My producer just stepped in with a question that I did not see. And it's probably way up there. So apparently there's a so-called guru who says keto for after 50 is not good because you lose muscle mass and lower muscle means lower metabolism. Do I look like I've lost muscle? Do you see? Do I look like, somebody give me a shout out for my guns, please, somebody. I'm 63 years old. How do you build muscle? You do it when you're after 50 the same way you did it when you were 20. There are some 20-year-olds with no muscle tone or, lean mass whatsoever. How did they build muscle? You do resistance training. So how would you do it when you're 50? Resistance training. How would you do it when you're 63? Resistance training. Now, I don't go to the gym and pound iron or whatever it's called. I have a total gym upstairs in my blue room. 5 days a week, most weeks. I do 5 sets of exercises, 15 reps, 3 sets of 15 reps per. So like yesterday was back day. You build muscle when you're 52 the same way you did when you were 22. And frankly, because the ketogenic protocol is a fat burning thing and it's you don't have to load up on a bunch of protein, but fat and protein helps with the amino acids that are required for cell health. So that guru is a jerk, or not a jerk. Don't know what they're talking about. Mona Tufan. I have just learned about Candida yeast in body. It likes sugar. If you use antibiotics or cortisol medications, other bacteria dies and Candida lives. Then it is hard to resist cravings, but you can do it anyway. Yes, and a lot of things love sugar. So, sometimes you just can avoid a whole cascading series of medications if you just lay off the carbs. Carbs equals sugar. Okay, no matter whether it's a whole grain bran muffin or M&Ms, it comes out of the liver by the time the carbs are processed as simple sugar. Pardon my French, how do you manage to keep a social life? I often go to dinners where there's no keto option and it's just impossible. I love keto, but it's impacting my social life, and that's a real shame. Well, pardon my French, I don't think I've ever been to one social event where, for one thing, there was not something I could eat. Cocktail parties, there's almost always a cheese and meat tray out with olives and stuff. I mean, when you're talking about a social life, you're talking about sit-down dinners, you're talking about, here's the other thing though, bigger picture. Who says you have to eat when you're socializing? If you're really concerned, eat a couple of boiled eggs before you go out with a glass of water. You won't want to eat anything. Let's stop looking at food as entertainment. Food is not love. That's actually on this. And I don't know whether he's here or not, but Scott, he's a patron. We had the same thought at the same time. I did this. Remember, during this month of love, this is for February, food is not love. Love is love. Food is fuel. And then I wrote, leave the chocolates, take the ribeye. And that's a nod to the Godfather. Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Bring your own dish to share. That's super easy to do. That's a great suggestion. Everybody loves deviled eggs. In my deviled eggs, what I do is I make them and they're all luscious, and then I cut up pieces of bacon and I stick it in the deviled eggs like little sailing ships. Pickles, antipasto, cheese, salami, spicy mustard. Excellent suggestion. Charlotte Renee's lifestyle, right? Sometimes I eat before a gathering. Yes, why not? And Little Craftiness says, yes, I have it on my fridge. Her calendar is so inspiring. Thank you, Stephanie. There are just a couple left. When they're gone, they're gone. Well, I was going to talk, but I really want to look at what you guys are doing. So my next little thing here, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to turn to share your stories of inspiration or your challenges. I have this Patreon support group. And it is about supporting each other. We almost never talk about the food. I mean, sometimes somebody will go off on a tangent about something. But more often it's, God, you won't believe the month I just had. Or, or what do I do when my mother-in-law does this to me or says this to me? We talk about managing life without using food to do it because people say they use food to cope. Let's face it, it's just the opposite. We use food to not cope. We are deflecting, kicking the problem down the street. In the meantime, eating the Chex Mix. Doesn't fix anything. If hunger's not the problem, food is not the answer. I think that's on one of the calendar pages too. Okay, Shantae Copeland writes, can you do a video on how... Okay, I'm sorry. Something jumped up. A video on how you make deviled eggs? There are probably 50 billion. You know what? I do have one. I'm pretty sure I have one on the deviled eggs, I think. Go look at my channel and one of my playlists or something, or food. Bird Lover writes, I never did the bacon and deviled eggs. Got to try that. Yeah. I mean, then people, like the people who are carb eaters, think, oh my gosh, I am so decadent. I'm eating a deviled egg with bacon. Donna Brown writes, hi, Casey. Hi. Karen Komaski writes, Casey, how do you feel about MCT collagen powder? Hype? Help skin, nails, hair? Question mark. Anyone know if it really works? Hype. Hype. I just read a scientific thing about a review about collagen in itself. Apparently, so as we get older, we lose certain things, and collagen, people get collagen injections in their lips. Bless, no judgment, but then look. It's a misdirect because the collagen as found in our bodies, the collagen, those cells or molecules or whatever they are pretty large. And they really can't fit back in. If we're trying to take them by mouth, they really don't fit back in. They don't get, digested, processed, and then pushed back into the cells. Hype. MCT oil, medium chain triglyceride. No, you know what that is? That's fat. And that's cool. But taking MCT oil because bodybuilders do it, the people with the 3% body fat, you're taking the MCT oil, but without the bodybuilding. So all you're doing is taking on fat that can't be stored, so it has to be burned. So it's burned before anything else is burned, including body fat. Hype. Hey, Gray's Custom Trim. Sounds like a win to me. You enjoyed yourself. You didn't need the food to make the experience fun. It's not about the food. It's about the people and the experiences. I wrote a blog post about a family gathering at our house, and I won't tell you about it now, but the images of an empty plate at our dining room. Gray's Custom Trim is one of those stories where I said, there are some of them are just made up and they're over the top great. His is true and over the top great. So I am now going to turn in these last couple of minutes, and I meant to do it a couple of minutes ago, to if you want to share your success stories, starting now. Our weekly video Bible study writes, my favorite Caseyism: food is not love, love is love, food is fuel. It points to a major tenet, the functional approach to our food. That is true. Okay, I'm bowel movements just to eat food. I'm not, believe what you want to believe. I don't, it's fat. Just eat real fat. Just have a ribeye. It's all it is. A medium chain triglyceride is a fat. Leslie Kendall writes, hi, Casey. Valeria Jacula writes, since August 2021, I've lost 34 kilograms. That's almost 75 pounds. I'm still going down, even with reducing on the prednisone meds. That is taking a few more weeks until I'm able to stop. Prednisone steroids are tough. So congratulations to you. Charla Renee's lifestyle, living Dr. Westman's RX prescription protocol food is the last thing I think about. It's so liberating. That is a victory. Not having intrusive thoughts of food. Chasing profit. Okay. If it works for you, good. Our weekly video Bible study, Scott Ramsey. Casey's boiled egg video is very helpful. I do it her way every time. We have backyard chickens, and getting perfectly cooked, hard-cooked eggs so that they peel easily. I had to learn how to do that because they're fresh, which is different than the 5-week-old eggs you get in the store. But thank you. I do it that way every time, and they peel beautifully. Alita's keto journey have lost from 303 down to 210, was paralyzed before 2 major neck surgeries. Now I exercise daily and stick to keto. Keto saved my life. Okay, that you might have just won the day. That is wonderful. Little Crafty Nook writes, I lost 7.5 inches overall so far. Keeping in mind, losing inches without losing ounces is definitely a thing. So if the scale is bothering you, go by how your clothes feel. Stephanie Lynn writes, A1C down to 5.1, blood pressure 109/78, feeling great. Candace V, down 57 pounds, off all meds, reverse type 2 diabetes, acid reflux, and high blood pressure. Congratulations. Christy Kalichika writes, love all these success stories. Also, no arthritis, shares Candace V. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is great. This is wonderful. So thank you for sharing your stories. It really does help. Some people are just like, what is the point of keeping on? Because sometimes things can just slow up, or our bodies are not machines. Weight fluctuates. One of the things I do, every snippet, I make snippets, videos, every weekday morning. The first thing I share is the variation on the scale from the morning before. It is rare when there's no variation. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. It's never by much. I am weight stable and have been for 5 years. But the scale fluctuates every day. I only really weigh myself now because I've been doing it since December 18th, 2000. And my spreadsheet, one of the things I measure is weight. And I'm waiting to lose the last 2.6 pounds. So I can say I've lost 100 pounds. All right, friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay warm. Whew. Stay warm, stay safe. And try not to get sucked into the vortex, the keto vortex. And Gray's Custom Trim, congratulations to all those thinking about starting, do it. Anyone can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. It's actually on the back of one of my mugs. On the front reads, lay off the carbs, lay off the excuses. And I will probably see you next Saturday. I'm going to be doing possibly a virtual presentation somewhere else, and I'll just do it where they need me to do it. But hopefully I'll see you next Saturday at noon for another live stream. Thanks.